الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين وصلى الله على سيدنا ونبينا أبي القاسم المصطفى محمد وعلى أهل بيته الأطيبين الأنجبين بهم نتولى ومن أعدائهم نتبرأ إلى الله. اللهم كن وليك الحجة ابن الحسن صلواتك عليه وعلى آبائه في هذه الساعة وفي كل ساعة وليا وحافظا وقائدا وناصرا ودليلا وعينا حتى تسكنه أرضك طوعا وتمتعه فيها طويلا. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. السلام عليك يا صاحب الزمان. We are celebrating this birthday, 1187th birthday of Imam al-Asr alayhi salatu wassalam, and in a very different way, a way when we are all secluded from every other person. In a way, every one of us is isolated. We cannot be like we used to be, and it is a time when we feel that Waliyullah, his need and that dire need of the Imam is there. Maybe this situation came across globally, and for everyone from all over the different parts of this world, for them to feel this pain, that there is a need of a Messiah, need of someone whose presence is dire, whose presence is needed. Without him, nothing can move ahead. And this is a fact. If you look into the ziyarat that we have, that the might Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala has given to the Imam, the Ma'soom, and the abilities that Allah has given to them, they are amazing. And all of that requires ma'rifah, insight, that we come to ourselves and know and understand the existence of this creation, ourselves, the Imam, the Almighty, the Rasul, and in particular Imam al-Asr alayhi salatu wassalam. So in this lockdown, there's only one outlet, and that outlet is the Imam alayhi salam. We are weak, very weak. We don't have any might. Allah in Quran says, كُلُّ شَيْءٍ أَحْسَيْنَاهُ فِي إِمَامٍ مُبِينٍ. Everything we have collected, we have gathered in that Imam, everything. As for ourselves, you and me, when we get tired, we don't have any ability, especially in this COVID-19. Those of you or those of us who have gone through that phase of this illness, it's something new. The pains are new. The treatment is new. And there we come to a point and we understand that we have no might whatsoever confronting a virus that is such tiny, such small. We cannot fight it. These eyes that Allah has given to us, they are so weak. That eyelid, which is just a few grams, it's so weak. When we get drowsy and asleep, it just falls. We can't even hold that eyelid. For the Imam alayhi salatu wassalam, and today it is Imam al-Asr alayhi salam. In Ziyarat Jamiat al-Kabira says, Bikum yumsiku as-samaa an taqa ala al-ard. It is by you that Allah is, by you the sky is being held back. Size of the sky, massive. 7 skies, one over the other. Millions of miles apart from each other. All of them being held back, all of them in place, all of them with no column, no pillar, no foundation on it. All of that is being held back. And here Imam Hadi in that beautiful Ziyarat Jami'atil Kabira says, Bikum yumsiku as-sama an taqa ala al-ard illa bi'iznih. That sky is being held back by the Imam alayhi salatu wassalam. This rizq that gets to you, these opportunities that are given to us, all of that is also from the Imam that we get all of these favors, blessings, barakat, families, children, spouses, rizq, job, studies, whatever, learning, understanding, insights, opening of these windows in our minds. All of that is from the Imam alayhi salam. There in the Dua Adila says that biyumnihi ruziq al-wara. It is by the Imam, rizq of the entire creation, it is provided. How much we understand all that, that is something else. But we have to work on it to try and to understand the concept of imamat, which is essential, without which this everything that we have in our minds, the belief system that we have, now even this world, this creation will fall apart. Hadith says that if for a moment Imam wasn't there, everything would have devastated, everything. When you see everything is in place, everything is intact, Shias in particular, worldwide there's such a massive investment, all these finances, all the abilities, all the funds of all of these states is being used to somehow remove and eradicate the Shias from the surface of this earth. Why the Shias only? It is because only the Shias believe in Imam Mahdi alayhi salam, the Messiah. It is only the Shias who follow an Imam who is from the descendants of Rasulullah, Amir al-Mu'mineen and Fatima alayhim as-salam. It is only the Shias who follow an Imam who has stood against Sufyani, from the descendants of Abu Sufyan. For that reason they need to be fought. But then when we see counter battle that is there in place from Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala, that is so strong that all these enemies also they admit, and it is a haqq and a fact that the largest lineage or generation that is remaining on this planet Earth in just these 1400 years since the demise of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wasallam are the Sadat. In excess of 40 million Sadat, they exist remaining just from 1400 years. Once we've got other religions, other belief systems that are here from thousands of years, and we don't find the least or the little number also of the adherents that could be compared to only the Sadat that are remaining from the Shias of Ali and Fatima alayhim as-salam. So that is a big blessing that Allah has given, and that is because Allah is in the support of the Shias, support of Imam al-Asr. Return is definite, no doubt in it. Allah has sworn, mentioned numerous times in Quran, وَلَقَدْ كَتَبْنَا فِي الزَّبُورِ مِنْ بَعْدِ الذِّكْرِ أَنَّ الْأَرْضَ يَرِثُهَا عِبَادِيَ الصَّالِحُونَ. We have written in the book, after the reminder, as for the land, it is this my righteous servants, they will inherit this land. So, no doubt in the return, and we ask Allah to hasten this return, and that we are all enlisted among His sincere and true servants, those who remain with Him, and those who seek shahadat in His service. Ahadith, they say that Prophet Musa alayhi salam, his birth was hastened as a result of the du'as of the ulama of Bani Israel, hastened by 170 years. Imam al-Sadiq alayhi salam, he says, Hakadha antum. You also can expedite the return of the Imam just like they expedited the birth of Prophet Musa by 170 years. Says, you can do it. And then Imam continues with the hadith and says, and if you do not do it, and if it is delayed, it is going to be delayed for a long time, for a very long time, ila muntaha, for a very long time. But how the situations that are unfolding that we see, and we don't want to I say or define any time, but everything is moving in the direction and in the favor of Imam alayhi salatu wassalam. The ahadith that talk about the return and the signs of the sacred return of the Imam, they say that one of the movements which is going to be the strongest of movements and which will aid and help the return of the Imam is the movement of the mu'mineen of Yemen. That we see it happening, that after so many years of being under severe massacre, under severe bombardment, under severe sanctions, and everyone has admitted that this is something that never mankind has seen, such a disaster of mankind being killed and massacred that we see in Yemen. But even then, despite all of that, they are moving ahead, they are winning, and that is the word of Allah tabaraka wa ta'ala. Kataballah, He has written, لَأَغْلِبَنَّ, that I will definitely make them win, make them victorious. That is the word of Allah. And here in this ayah says, لَقَدْ كَتَبْنَا فِي الزَّبُورِ, we have written in the book after the reminder, as for the land, my righteous servants, they will inherit it. On a night like tonight, Hakima Khatun, Imam Askari's aunt, Imam sends a message to her, says that now she is the reporter, sends a message to her, and now she reports that, aunt, we are fasting today and we want you to be at our place for iftar. She comes, and then when Imam sees her, says her that tonight Allah tabaraka wa ta'ala is sending His argument, His hujjah, His evidence, His proof, and he is going to be born tonight. She asks, and who is the mother? Imam replies, it is Narjis Khatun, Salamullahi alayha. Now, she is the aunt of Imam Askari, a staunch believer in imamats, in the system that she has from Tawheed to Qiyamah. Although older in age, she doesn't doubt what the Imam says. Comes and sees Narjis Khatun, she also comes in, greets and welcomes the aunt, takes her footwear away and puts them aside, takes her in, shows her in. When she checks, Hazrat Narjis Khatun sees that there are no signs of pregnancy whatsoever. Now the aunt Hakima Khatun, now those of you who've been to Samirra, there are 4 graves in the sacred Zari. One of them is Hakima Salamullahi alayha, a very noble lady. She says that I see no signs of pregnancy in her, but because Imam has said that is Imam Askari, then I don't doubt, no doubt whatsoever, nor do I question, because he has said something, and that is haqq. Now this is something we have to train ourselves, that tomorrow when Imam al-Asr alayhi salatu wasalam returns, I mean, if he says something, I don't doubt, I don't cross-question, I don't question. He said something that is haqq, that is true. Whether it falls within my knowledge and my information, that doesn't matter. He has said it, that is right, that is haqq. She sees no signs of pregnancy in her, and then says to herself, he has said, so it is true. After a while, she comes to check on Narjis Khatun, and she sees that she's speaking to someone. Asks her, Narjis, who are you speaking to, talking to? She says, I was talking to this baby in my womb. And what was the talk? The baby said, Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. And I said, Inna anzalnahu fi laylatil qadr. Then the baby says, Wama adraka ma laylatul qadr. She says, Laylatul Qadri khayrum min alfi shahr, one ayah after the other, both of them they recited and completed the surah. Says that past midnight I woke up and I went to see again, and I see no signs yet, and then all of a sudden the signs of pregnancy, they are evident, and she says the baby is born. The first thing the baby says that Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wahdahu la sharika lah wa ashhadu anna Muhammadan Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wasallam. Says that Imam alayhi salam, Imam Askari, he say, now this is he then mentions the imamat of Amirul Mu'mineen, and all of the imams were mentioned by Imam al-Asr alayhi salatu wassalam, and when he comes mentions his own name as the 12th imam, and the dua that he has, the infant says, Allahumma anjizli wa'di, that is, God, this promise of yours for me, which is definite, completed, perfected, wa atmim li amri wa thabbit wat'ati, and keep me firm, and fill this land with justice and with equity. وَامْلَأِ الْأَرْضَ بِي عَدْلًا وَقِسْطًا, fill this earth by me, make it be filled with justice and equity. Says that after then Imam Askari alayhi salatu wassalam sought the baby and then says, son, speak to me. Imam says, Imam al-Asr says, وَنُرِيدُ أَن نَمُنَّ عَلَى الَّذِينَ اسْتُضْعِفُوا فِي الْأَرْضِ وَنَجْعَلَهُمْ أَئِمَّةً وَنَجْعَلَهُمُ الْوَارِثِينَ. That is the ayah of Quran which means, وَنُرِيد, Allah says, we have intended, أَن نَمُنَّ عَلَى الَّذِينَ اسْتُضْعِفُوا فِي الْأَرْضِ, that those who have been weakened in the land, on the earth, deemed weak in the land, that Allah says it is our intention that we favor them, those people who have been deemed weakened in the land, we make them the a'imma and we make them the inheritors. Now this الَّذِينَ اسْتُضْعِفُوا فِي الْأَرْضِ, deemed weakened. Now when we look back into the history of Rasulullah, history of Amirul Mu'mineen, Hazrat Zahra Salamullah alayha, all of the Imams, now especially Amirul Mu'mineen, with all those statements that were mentioned by Rasulullah, all of those ayat that were there in the honor, in the favor, and in respect of Amirul Mu'mineen, Ali alayhi salam, we see how they dealt with him. Someone who is the first person, someone who is the Imam of all Mu'mineen, of Muttaqeen, how with brutally and with all that oppression after Rasulullah, he be dragged in the streets of Medina. So that is defamation of a nation towards an Imam. So that is making someone who was strong, who was mighty by Allah, to weaken him in the land. استضعفوا في الأرض. Says Allah gave them all those high ranks and positions and the fada'il, the virtues, but that is how they dealt. Abu Abdullah al-Hussein, with all that high status, and everyone knew, but how they disrespected him. Allah says, for all of that, نَجْعَلَهُمْ أَئِمَّةً وَنَجْعَلَهُمُ الْوَارِثِينَ, we have made this irada, this intention, that all of that will be given to them. It is the word of Allah, it is His promise, and that will definitely take place. And then Imam sees that on the right hand, right arm of the Imam alayhi salam is written, جاء الحق وزهق الباطل إن الباطل كان زهوقا. Haq has arrived and batil is vanished, deemed and doomed to be vanished. إن الباطل كان زهوقا. It was always like that. It isn't as such that today that batil and evil will be removed. No, batil had no identity. Batil had no existence whatsoever, and it is doomed and deemed to be away and removed. And that is via the Imam alayhi salatu wassalam. Now, Imam al-Asr alayhi salam is born, and countless miracles took place upon the birth of the Imam alayhi salam. This has been the case when Rasulullah was born, when Amirul Mu'mineen was born, Hazrat Zahra was born, Abu Abdullah was born. All of the Aimma, their birth was always Mubarak. Now, this thing that we do see in many of these places where they say don't say birth, say zuhur and all that stuff, we stick to what we have been taught in Quran, in Hadith, by the Prophet, by the Ahlul Bayt. Quran says regarding Prophet Isa alayhi salam, who was born without a father, he says twice in Quran, Yawma walid, wa yawma amut, wa yawma ub'asu hayya. The day I was born, the day I will die, the day I will be resurrected and raised. Twice it has been mentioned. So birth is there, he was born. And if you take all these terminologies away, like birth, and replace it with something else, it's going to mess up and fall apart the whole system, the belief system that we have. There has to be these bonds, the parents have to be there, connections between parents and children and siblings, one another. All of that has to be there, mahram, non-mahram, etc. For that not to fall apart, stick to what we have been taught, what has been mentioned in Quran, in Hadith. It is birth of Imam al-Asr, birth of Imam Ali alayhi salam in Kaaba, birth of Abu Abdullah al-Hussein. And upon the birth of Sayyid al-Shuhada, Allah sends that birth certificate via Jibreel to Rasulullah to be given to Zahra, which has been recorded as Hadith Lawh Fatima. And in that, the chain of guidance has been mentioned, the name of Imam al-Asr has been mentioned, and the names have been mentioned repeatedly on numerous occasions. In that khutbah that Hazrat Zahra delivers in Medina, she mentions all the names. In khutbah of Ghadir, Rasulullah delivers, he mentions the names of all of the Imams, and even the Imam al-Asr alayhi salam has been mentioned. One of the du'as that we have is dua that has been reported by Salawat Nasiruddin Tusi. And it is a beautiful salawat upon all of the Aimma, and in particular the 12th Imam. And you must have definitely heard that on and off. Get connected to these beautiful du'as and ziyarat that we have. Here says, Allahumma salli wa sallim wa zid wa barik ala sahib al-da'wat al-nabawiyyah والسولة الحيدرية والعصمة الفاطمية والحلم الحسنية شجاعة الحسينية كمزا says والحجج الرذوية جود التقوية نقاوة النقوية والهيبة العسكرية والغيبة الإلهية. This ghaibat, the term and this title is given only and only to Imam al-Asr alayhi salam, to no one else. Like the title we have Amirul Mu'mineen is the title exclusive for Amirul Mu'mineen, Imam Ali alayhi salam, and no one else. When inquired, Imam al-Sadiq also says the same, says you can't even address Imam al-Asr with Amirul Mu'mineen. Amirul Mu'mineen is for Imam Ali alayhi salam. Likewise, this title Ghaybat al-Ilahiyya is for Imam al-Asr alayhi salam. Now this Ghaybat of the Imam that we are in, it is in a way, it is the fury or the wrath of Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala that we see. In a hadith from Imam Kazim alayhi salam, Imam says, إِذَا غَضِبَ اللَّهُ تَبَارَكَ وَتَعَالَى عَلَى خَلْقِهِ نَحَّانَا عَنْ جَوَارِهِمْ. When Allah, He is angry, in simple words. غَضِبَ, when He is angry, when He is furious, when His wrath is towards His creation, what He does is that He takes away the Imams from the nation, from the people. So Imams were there, means Allah, His rida, His happiness, His joy is there towards the nation, towards the people. Removing the Imam from the creation, from the people, means that Allah is not happy. إِذَا غَضِبَ اللَّهُ تَبَارَكَ وَتَعَالَى عَلَى خَلْقِهِ. When He is furious towards His creation, Nahana an jawarihim. He removes us from their presence, from their nearness. So in a way, this era that we are in, the era of the ghaibat of the Imam alayhi salam, means Allah is not happy with us, with our performance. Now, it is something that was done by our ancestors living during the time of Imam Askari alayhi salam, or even before them, who did not help the Imams, who did not support the Imams, who were not by the Imams, as a result of which so many of them were killed, and Allah did not want this 12th one to be killed, so He took him away. It was the bad performance of our ancestors that they did not support the Imam. They were not by the Imams, as a result of which they were killed. For that not to happen, not to be repeated, He took away the Imam and says, now you have to fix yourself, correct yourself. And once you have corrected yourself, and there are enough people who could be a support to the Imam, render their assistance and aid towards the Imam, I will return him to you. So this era of ghaibat, it's the era of fury, of ghadab of Allah tabaraka wa ta'ala. There in that famous poetry in Farsi says, Man az biganegan hargiz nanalam ke ba man harche kard un ashna kard. I don't regret, I don't complain what these strangers have done to us. My complaint is towards the Shias, what they have done. And the brother who just recited this beautiful poetry in Urdu also said the same, Jitne gham uthaye hain kalma goyon se. So it's these people who recite the kalima, the shahadatain, they are the ones by whom or due to whom the Imams, they had to suffer. Man az biganegan hargiz nanalam ke ba man harche kard on ashna kard. Assalamu alayk ya sahib az-zaman. We ask Allah on this night of Imam al-Asr alayhi salam to accept us all in His divine service. Give us all the tawfiq to be better people. All the wrong, the flaws that we have had throughout our life, we regret, we repent, we come back to you, Ya Allah. And if we look into these du'as also, there is a du'a, I think it is du'a Makarim al-Akhlaq. Imam Sajjad alayhi salam, he says that, Allah, you've shown us everything, you've given us everything, guidance is there, you've given us knowledge also. Many a times people, they have faith, they are mu'mineen, but they may not end mu'mineen, they may lose their iman for whatever reason. So that iman is a blessing that is given to us, and we have to work on protecting that iman. We may lose it, God forbid, for whatever reason, for the wrongs, the sins that we do. Imam in that dua says, Ilahi wa'ammirni ma kana umri bazlatan fi ta'atik. That God, I've lived my life in your obedience. And if you, God, if you see that I, at any point in my life, after this, I switch to disobedience, God forbid, I lose my faith, God, that very moment, before that moment comes, before I lose my iman, you end my life, so that I die on iman. Now this is the word of an Imam alayhi salam, a ma'soom. وَعَمِّرْنِي مَا كَانَ عُمْرِي بَذْلَةً فِي طَاعَتِكَ. Allah, give me a life in your obedience. فَإِذَا كَانَ عُمْرِي مَرْتَعًا لِلشَّيْطَانِ. That if you find that my life, my existence has become a grazing land of shaitan, seize my soul that very moment. مَرْتَعًا لِلشَّيْطَانِ فَاقْبِضْنِي إِلَيْكَ. Seize my soul قَبْلَ أَنْ يَسْبِقَ مَقْتُكَ إِلَيْكَ. Before your wrath comes towards me. So Allah's wrath coming towards me is when I lose my faith, I lose my iman, I stand in disobedience before God. For that not to take place, we ask Allah to end our life, so that we end and we depart from this world in obedience to Allah wa ta'ala, in obedience to the Imam alayhi salam. There have been many who were with the Imam, but when their interests and when their benefits were not there, they switched, they left, they abandoned the Imam alayhi salam. So we don't want that to happen, and we ask Allah to help us throughout, and these special favors of the Imam that are upon us, they continue, and we benefit from the presence of the Imam alayhi salam. Now it is a night of tawbah, a night of repentance, a night of tawassul. Now whatever we have done in the past, it's all gone. Ma fata madha wa ma sayati kafa'ain. What will come also, we don't know, we have no access to it. Says فَاغْتَنِمِ الْفُرْسَةَ بَيْنَ الْعَدَمَيْنِ. Between these two non-existences, that past of mine which is not in my control, that future of mine which is not in my control, I have to benefit with this present of mine which is in my possession, in my control. So, one of the ways of helping ourselves is by connecting all of those broken links between us and the Imam alayhi salam. Whatever it is, everyone knows himself better than anyone else. There have been a lot of flaws in us. We have to strengthen this connection with the Imam alayhi salam. There are different ways to do it. Some people like prayers, some people like du'as, some people like azkar. Whatever you can, you do, just to patch up and to fix those broken connections that we have with the Imam alayhi salam. One of the ways is by tawassul. Now the reporter is Abul Hasan bin Abil Baghl Katib. He says that I had problems and I wanted a solution to them. And I came to Babul Hawaij, Musa ibn Ja'far alayhi salatu wassalam. Says it was a very stormy night, and I requested Abu Ja'far Qayyim, he is the caretaker, the security of the haram, to lock the doors, and I was all alone in the sacred shrine, occupied in du'as, in prayers, in ziyarat. He says it was past midnight, no one was in the sacred shrine. I heard someone walk in from the zari of Imam Musa ibn Ja'far alayhi salam, and I saw him stand and recite the ziyarat. He mentioned the names of all the ulul azm, the anbiya, and then he started sending his salams to Prophet Adam, and then Nuh, Ibrahim, and all until Rasulullah. And then after the Prophet, he starts mentioning the names of the Imams. He mentioned all of the names. He did not mention the name of the 12th Imam. I thought that he had forgotten the name of the 12th Imam. Or maybe he doesn't know the 12th Imam. Or maybe he doesn't even believe in the 12th Imam, just like these who have faith in 3 Imams and 6 Imams and 7 Imams, etc. He said, I thought he doesn't believe in the 12th Imam. He then faced Imam Jawad alayhi salam, his haram, his zari, and recited the ziyarat and offered 2 rakat prayers by the sacred shrine of Hazrat Jawad salamullah alayhi. And he says that I saw him. He wasn't too young, he wasn't very old. He was of someone of a complete age. Complete age means someone 40 plus is of a complete age. Dressed in white, with a white turban, white amama, with a hanak. Hanak is that white piece of cloth which hangs down the amama. And he was very handsome, very beautiful. Says that I had this question in my mind, that why did he not address the 12th Imam? Now this person who was there reciting the ziyarat, addressed me by my name, Abul Hasan ibn Abil Baghl. Why don't you recite Dua Faraj? I said, my master, and which Dua Faraj? He says that offer a 2 rakat prayer Now, if you can add this onto your program, weekly, daily, whatever is possible for you, this is a dua faraj which has been prescribed by the Imam of age, alayhi salatu wassalam. And I'll send it to you. You can share it with the mu'mineen. Says, after reciting a 2 rakat prayer, like your Fajr prayers, you say, Ya man adhar al-jameel, wa satar al-qabih, Ya man lam yu'akhidh bil-jarira, ولم يهتك الستر يا عظيم المن يا كريم الصفح يا حسن التجاوز يا واسع المغفرة يا باسط اليدين بالرحمة يا منتهى كل نجوى يا غاية كل شكوى يا عون كل مستعين يا مبتدئا قبل بالنعم قبل استحقاقها. And then you repeat these azkar and names 10 times each. Ya Rabbah 10 times. Ya Sayyidah. Ya Mawlah. Ya Ghayatah. Ya Muntaha Ghayata Raghbatah. Once you've said that, you say As'aluka bihaqqi hadhihi al-asma' by these names that I just recited. Wa bihaqqi Muhammadin wa alihi al-tahirin alayhim as-salam, and by Muhammad and his family all pure, upon them be salam. Illa ma kashafta karbi, that God, you ease this problem, this distress that I'm going through. Hammi wa farrajta anni wa aslahta hali, and that you ease this problem for me, and then you fulfill and grant my hajat. And then you bow down in sajda with the right side of your face in sajda. You say, Ya Muhammad, Ya Ali, Ya Ali, Ya Muhammad, ikfiyani fa innakuma kafiyai, wansurani fa innakuma nasiran. This is 100 times. Left side of your face in sajda, say adrikni, 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 100 times. Back to sajda, your forehead, and you say al-ghaus, 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 100 times. This is the dua faraj that was taught by Imam al-Asr alayhi salam to this person, who himself meets the Imam and then reports this dua faraj for us all to recite. So it's a gift that we can have for this 15th of Shaban, and then get familiarized and then bonded with the Imam much more and much stronger than before, because the only outlet in this day and age that we have is Imam al-Asr alayhi salam. Aina babullah alladhi minhu yu'ta. Babullah, today it is Imam alayhi salam. From this door, from this outlet is whatever you want to get, and you will be given. It is by the Imam alayhi salam, everything is intact, every provision is being provided. And on this night of Imam al-Asr, we ask Allah, Allahumma arinit talat al-rashida wal ghurrat al-hamida. Allah, enlighten our eyes, gladden our eyes by the vision, the sight, and the look, a glance on the Imam alayhi salatu wassalam. And Allah, hasten in his return, count us all among his sincere, true servants. Many of us, our loved ones, they have passed away. Allah, a share, an ajr, a reward from these remembrances of Ma'asumeen be delivered to every one of them, and the highest of ranks and rewards be blessed and bestowed upon them on this night of Imam al-Asr, the night of mercy, rahmah of Imam of Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala. All those who are ill and ailing, Allah, by Imam al-Asr, this Imam al-Rahmah, Imam of mercy of Allah, Allah grant shifa to every one of them. Mu'mineen who have requested for du'as, whatsoever du'as they be, whatsoever hajat they may be having, Allah, by Imam al-Rahmah, the Imam of forgiveness and mercy, Imam al-Asr alayhi salam, grant whatever they want. And Allah, hasten in the return of our Imam, and Allah, make Imam happy with every one of us. He is pleased with us, and that we also remain with him in his service and seek shahadat, serving the noble cause of the Imam alayhi salam. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم وسبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون وسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. For all mu'mineen and mu'minat, a Fatiha with a salawat.